is one of those very special pickles called methia keri. Well, pickles of course have a very standard recipe in every home, but there are those little bit of changes that everyone does to personalize it. Well, this one is from my family. The first and foremost ingredient, which is extremely important, is a keri or a raw mango. Whenever you're making a pickle is generally never made instant. It takes at least 2 to 3 days to make it. Well, this is a process that you need to start at least 3 days before. I'll tell you why and how. The first thing is to wait for the good quality of keri or raw mango in the market. You can of course use totapuri, but the mango that's really used in a pickle or a murabba is a rajapuri. So if you can lay your hands on that, please do that. Wait for summers. Snip off the cap. Cut the cheeks of a mango, which are actually the two sides of a mango. What's also important here is to cut the remainder of the mango. Why I'm saying the remainder of the mango is because these are mangoes with a heavy stone or a heavy seed, which is literally like a stone, and that's the reason why it's called a mango stone. Well, this one, especially the keri that you use for any pickle, generally has a soft covering of the stone, which could also be cut like this. So you can actually cut it through and through, only and only with a sharp knife, and you get a softer stone right in the center like this. Well, this is also a part that could be used in a pickle. So do not throw this. We are also kind of using this. But what's important is to remove the center core, which is the stone of the mango. Remove this. There's also a little bit of a skin that needs to be removed. Well, this soft stone is also a little astringent. It's a little bitter. It's borderline sweet, but it's a wonderful ingredient. Well, this is also one of those underutilized ingredients in Indian homes. But yeah, in our homes, we make a nice mouth freshener out of this. But let's leave that for another day. Let's come back and concentrate on the pickle. Let's cut this into squares like so. You can cut these into dices. And let's transfer these larger chunks into a deep bowl. Similarly, let's start cutting this. All of this in a larger bowl, and this is a very simple step, but of course, like I said, it takes a little time if you're doing it traditionally. I'm of course going to show you a trick to that as well. To this, let's add in turmeric powder, all of it. And to this, let's add in salt, which is a regular table salt. The next step here is to toss all of this together. Of course, you can do this with your hands. And the step after this is to keep this just like that, at least for one afternoon, covered in sunlight. Well, because we are doing it in a little quicker way, I'm showing you a home trick, and that is to put this in a microwave for 3 minutes. With this, the time's up. And a lot of water or a lot of moisture has released here, and this is actually salted water with turmeric. Well, let's transfer all of this in another container with a strainer, of course, because the next step here is to strain all that liquid off, because we are not looking at that. We're not looking at washing or cleaning anything at this point in time, but the next step is to transfer all of this on a cloth and give it at least 2 hours of sunlight furthermore, or the next step is to keep this under a fan which is on full swing. Let's spread this nice and even, and on top of this, the mangoes which have just come out of the microwave. Well, again, is the same thing that would even happen after one sun in an afternoon. When I say one sun, two sun, this is actually a barometer or a technique in which you say keep it for 2 suns, keep it for 3 suns, or keep it for 3 or 4 suns, depending on how many sunlights you show a product. Now this is a product of 1 sunlight. Let's keep this aside. The fan on full swing for 2 hours at least, so that the outside surface kind of dries out completely. It's been 2 hours and the curry or the raw mango has dried on its surface. Let's transfer all of this into a clean container. And this, of course, needs to get washed. Let's keep this aside and let's move on to making the masala mix. For that, of course, 2 things very important. The first one is methi kuriya. Now, methi kuriya are basically flakes of methi or fenugreek, which is the primary ingredient of this recipe. In case by any chance you cannot lay your hands on something like this, what you can do is take methi seeds, toast them lightly and crush them, rather blitz them so that they just kind of crush into pieces, and that could also be used. But give this first preference, first look for this, find this out. If you don't, only then go for that option. The next step is to create a little bit of a center and drop in asafoetida or hing. Now these are whole dried chilies, which I'm just snipping into 2 and keeping them right in the center. The next step is to heat a pan and into this add in mustard oil. Scrape all of this because oil is something which is extremely important for this recipe, because with the quantity of oil and salt, this is something that's going to stay for a while, at least a year, in your kitchens. Allow this to come almost till smoking point and then we'll move forward. Once the mustard oil reaches smoke point, as you see now, the smoke is right here. You drop this right in the center. Well, this way what happens is you're completely controlling your tempering. Nothing burns at any point in time. Let's mix all of this. And to this, like how we have methi kuriya, we also have mustard kuriya or rai kuriya. Let's add that. Along with this, salt. Well, this is salt which is roasted and kept. Do not add anything as per your whims and fancies, because this is something which is going to stay with you for a while. Let's add in the red chili powder. Now here you could take something which has good color, good spice, again depending on how you or your family likes it. Let's mix all of this well. With this, your pickle spice or pickling spice is done and ready. And this is the base or the premise of methia curry. Let's move on to 2 more steps. But first things first, and that is moving all of this into the mango which is prepared. And this one is the raw mango or the curry. Let's toss all of this together. You just have to ensure that all of this is mixed very well together. And if you see, it's kind of dry as of now because we have some more oil going in, and that would be the last and final step. Once all of this is mixed well, the next step is to bottle this or transfer this into a jar. The pickle jar, of course, needs to be nice and clean. Let's open the lid and let's transfer all of this into the jar. Remember to fill the jar, however big or small, only till it's 3/4 full, because we're also going to add in some oil next. Well, I think that should be enough. This can, of course, go in another jar. Let's add in some spices also. And let's move on to the next step, and that is heating the oil. For this, I'm of course adding in vegetable oil. And with this, I'm also adding in castor oil, which is for its keeping quality. Allow this to heat till it's smoking again. Once the oil comes to smoking point, off goes the flame, and we need to transfer this, of course, into the pickle. Need to fill the jar right till it's top. Once all the oil goes in, the next step is to tie this with a muslin cloth and a twine and keep this in the sun for at least 2 to 3 days. And after that, your methia curry is ready to be served. What you need to do is every day, you need to swirl it like that so that the oil keeps rising at the top, which is extremely important. Otherwise, what will happen is the curry on top or the raw mango on top starts getting these little fronds of fungus, and you're not looking at that. With this, your methia curry is done and ready, and trust me, this goes amazingly well with theplas, parathas, chapatis, fulkas, or even dal rice. Trust me, make the best use of this summer, this sunlight. Make something like this and ensure that your family likes this.
In this episode, I'm going to make curry panna or aam panna, which is a raw mango drink. This is a very cooling, refreshing drink to beat the heat in summer. Take 2 raw mangoes, approximately this size. And what I've done is I've washed it thoroughly and added 2 cups of water and pressure cooked it. Let it cool down completely after it pressure cooks. And this is how it looks. My method is a little messy affair, but trust me, don't peel the mangoes, don't chop them up and then pressure cook it, because it does make a lot of difference in the flavor. So let's start making this drink. I'm going to remove this peel. Make sure you remove all the pulp. Remove the pulp from the seed as well. I'm going to pour this pulp in this bowl. I'm going to throw in my mint leaves, black salt, regular salt, and cumin seed powder, sugar, and I'm going to blend everything together. I'm going to throw in some crushed ice, blend it again, depending on the sourness of the mangoes, you will have to adjust all your other ingredients like sugar, water, ice, all the seasoning ingredients. So let's taste it before we pour it in the glass. Needs a little more sugar and lots of ice. So I'll just add some extra. I'm adding 1/4 cup of sugar. That means I've used like totally 1 cup of sugar in this. Ice, it has to be absolutely chilled before you serve it. I'm going to blend this once again till my sugar melts. Keep it in the refrigerator till you want to serve it, and while serving we are going to pass it through a fine sieve and serve it with some crushed ice. Let's sieve this. Just stir it in the sieves. It's time to serve. Give it a good stir, because all the sugar or the pulp or everything is going to settle at the bottom. And let's pour this in the glass.
Want to give a seasonal twist to your regular dal? Try out this easy and flavorful raw mango dal fry. The dal I am using today is half cup washed and soaked tur or arhar dal. I had soaked the dal for half an hour. Into this half teaspoon turmeric powder or haldi, salt as per taste, 1 cup of water. We will let this cook on high flame for 2 whistles. Post this, lower the flame and we will let the dal cook for 5 minutes on low flame. 5 minutes are up and the cooker has cooled down too. Let's check. The dal is done. Just stir and mash a little and we are good. Time has come to cook raw mangoes for the dal. In a heated pan on medium flame, I am putting 2 tablespoons of desi ghee. Once the ghee heats, I am adding quarter teaspoon asafoetida or hing, half teaspoon mustard seeds, 1 teaspoon jeera, 1 dried red chili, half teaspoon red chili powder, and 1 small raw mango peeled and cut into wedges. I am adding around half a cup of water into this. Cover and let it cook for 3 minutes. If you like, you can add onions, garlic and even curry leaves while making this tadka. Totally a taste preference. The mangoes have softened. Now, I'm simply adding the dal to the cooked raw mangoes. The tanginess of the raw mangoes is going to give a nice punch to our dal. We want the flavors of the mango to incorporate well, so I'll cover this and let this simmer for 2 minutes on low flame. 2 minutes are up. An extremely simple yet flavorful dal is ready. Let's serve. Garnish this with chopped coriander leaves for an enhanced flavor. Perfect. Eat well, live well and stay blessed. Tangy, sweet, spicy and delicious. This raw mango rasam with steamed rice is all you need for a soulful lunch. Let's make raw mango rasam. I'm taking 1 washed small raw mango. Let's peel it. Raw mangoes vary from white to pale yellow in color with a sharp and sour taste. This is exactly what will give today's rasam a deliciously tangy taste. Let's chop the mangoes now. Just a rough chop is fine as this will eventually be turned into a puree later on. To cook the mangoes, I am taking 2 cups of water and putting the diced mangoes to boil. We just need to cook for 5 to 7 minutes until the mangoes turn soft. Time to take it off the flame. Now, I'm draining out the water as we will be mashing the mangoes next. Using a simple spoon, I'm simply pressing the mango pieces and passing it through the sieve. Alternatively, you can grind them in a mixer grinder. All we want is a beautiful raw mango puree like this. Time to cook the rasam. In a pan on heat, I'm taking 1 tablespoon of ghee. Once the ghee has heated, I am adding 1 teaspoon of mustard seeds, 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, half a pinch hing, half a teaspoon of grated fresh ginger, 3 to 4 garlic cloves crushed, 3 green chilies slit and 12 to 15 curry leaves. Let's saute this for 2 minutes. Next, I am adding half a teaspoon of turmeric powder. Now goes in the raw mango puree we made and half a cup of boiled tur dal. Mix in. Lastly, 1.5 teaspoons of rasam powder, salt as per taste. I am putting 1.5 teaspoon and 1 tablespoon of jaggery powder. Mix this. Time to add 4 cups of water. Let's bring everything together. I am putting a lid and we will let the rasam cook for 10 minutes. The rasam is cooked. Let's transfer it into a bowl. Our rasam is ready, but not without adding the tadka. For the tadka, in a pan on heat on low flame, I am taking 1 tablespoon of ghee, 1 teaspoon of mustard seeds, 2 to 3 dried red chilies, and 7 to 8 curry leaves. Let's pour the tadka over the rasam. Tangy and sweet raw mango rasam is ready. Serve it with some hot rice, papad and pickle, and there's nothing else you need to satisfy your soul. Eat well, live well, and stay blessed.
Raw mango rice, also known as Mavinkai Chitrana in Kannada. Let's see how to make it. The first thing that you need to do is soak about 1.5 cups 300 grams of basmati rice or any other rice in water for about 30 minutes, and then you need to drain the water of the rice and cook the rice in 2.5 cups 625 ml water with about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I have already cooked the rice here and allowed it to cool on a large platter. The next step is to prepare the spice paste. First thing that goes in here is half a cup of peeled and grated raw mango. This is about 1 medium-sized raw mango. Quarter cup 25 to 30 grams of freshly grated coconut. About 2 to 3 green chilies. If you like your dish spicy, then add more green chilies. And about 3/4 of a teaspoon of mustard seeds. I'm not going to be using any water to grind this paste since the raw mango already has a lot of water in it. But if you find that your raw mango is dry, then feel free to use a little water. The spice paste is ground, and now let's move on to preparing the tempering. My grandmother says that if you get the tempering right, then you can get any dish to taste good. I'm going to turn on the heat, and then I'm going to pour in about 4 tablespoons of oil, and into the hot oil I'm going to put in about 2 teaspoons of Bengal gram dal or chana dal, 1 teaspoon of urad dal. I'm going to swirl this around a little and then put in about 2 tablespoons of peanuts. These are raw unsalted peanuts. As the lentils and the peanuts continue to sizzle and change color, I'm going to put in about 3/4 of a teaspoon of mustard seeds. And after the mustard starts to crackle and pop, I'm going to put in about 3 to 4 dried red chilies that have been broken into bits, sprig of curry leaves, and half a teaspoon of yellow asafoetida powder. I'm going to swirl this around nicely. And into this hot seasoning, I'm going to put in the ground spice paste. Give it a good mix. This needs to cook for about 3 to 4 minutes more until the oil starts to separate from the masala paste. Into this beautiful spice paste, I'm going to be adding about half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, about half a teaspoon of salt. Remember, we've already added salt while cooking the rice, so this would need just about half a teaspoon. Give it a nice stir. And we are done. Now all that is left to do is mix in this flavorful mango mixture into the cooked rice.
I'm going to make a raw mango chutney. I'm going to add my chopped onions, the raw mango, salt. This is a spicy red chili powder, so add as much as you can handle, and cumin seed powder. Adjust the jaggery according to the sourness of the mangoes. I'm going to add like a tablespoon and a half. I'm going to grind all these ingredients together. I'm going to add a little bit of water in this chutney, just maybe a tablespoon and a half, and blend this in a fine paste. My chutney is ready and I'm just going to remove this in a bowl. Let's just remove this.